CTV News with Mitsumi Takahashi.
Good evening. One of Canada's greatest jazz pianists has died. Oliver Jones was 91 years old. His music was genius. And behind the music was a warm, wonderful, generous human being. He was quick to smile, he was quick to laugh. And today his many friends and his many, many admirers are mourning the loss and celebrating the legacy. Here's Christine Long.
Born in Little Burgundy, Oliver Jones was known for his light, expressive playing. As a child, Jones studied piano with Oscar Peterson's sister, Daisy, and then went on to enjoy a 7-decade international career. His nephew, Wayne Bryan, remembers Uncle Oliver as very humble.
He happened to mention that he had an opportunity back in the 60s to go on tour playing keyboard for the Supremes. And he declined, and he told me the reason he did at the time was because he didn't think he was good enough.
Jones earned numerous awards with his hard work and dozens of recordings. Jim West worked with him on many of his albums and traveled the world with Jones.
It's sad for me, but it's sad for many people that knew him. He was, I mean, we use the word very loosely, but he was a legend and just an incredible person, always thinking of somebody else first, especially the youth in our community in Montreal.
Fresh flowers placed at the mural in his childhood neighborhood. John R. Kennedy spent most of 2017 filming a documentary on Jones.
He always thought of himself as second to Oscar Peterson, but they were just different, and his impact is no less, and his legacy will be all the young people and all the young musicians that he taught and trained and mentored. Which he did for as long as he could. Jones gave in to a lengthy illness Wednesday. His longtime partner Monique Leclerc called CJD 800 to share how she's feeling.
And he is in every fiber of my body. I will love him forever, like so many people around the world.
Tributes are pouring in. The mayor of Montreal posted, "He leaves a musical heritage that will inspire generations to come." And Premier Christine Fréchette said, "Quebec has lost an exceptional cultural ambassador." Jones's longtime friend and fellow performer, Renee Lee, says he would want to be remembered fondly and with purpose.
Gentle giant, and I think in his enormity, he knows how powerful he is, and he used it wisely. And I think he would want us all to somewhat follow whatever our gifts are in the footsteps that he planted.
Oliver Jones was 91. He leaves behind a son, Richard, and widow, Monique. Christine Long, CTV News.
The death of Oliver Jones has hit hard in Montreal's Black community, especially in Little Burgundy.
He was a towering figure where Oscar got the world, he had the community. The community loved him. He was always there for his people. Irregardless if you were black or white, English or French, because he was fully bilingual. A lot of people don't know that, but he was fully bilingual. And he just resonated with everybody. He was a lover of people and what they were about. And he just wanted to see the good. Anytime you got to meet him, it was a special treat because he gave you those innocent eyes of wonder, like, who are you? What are you about? Why are you here? Type of thing. I'm Oscar. How are you? That kind of thing. And he was solid, just a solid man who was humble, who was gracious, would donate his time, his energy, and his money towards whatever community who would reach out to him.
There's more on our interview with Ricardo Daly on our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. And we will have more of the music of Oliver Jones later in the newscast. There's been another incident involving a stalled train on the REM. This time riders had to switch to another train while they were on tracks 2 stories up. So how are these incidents affecting ridership? Here's Kelly Gregg.
Normally, it takes Terry Sylvester 20 minutes to get home. On Friday, it was 3 hours.
People got hurt. Someone fainted because it was so hot. Someone had a low panic attack. She started crying. It was just an overall mess.
In a packed car, windows started fogging up in the heat. She says after about 45 minutes stuck between downtown and Nuns Island, riders were told to evacuate the train and get in another, crossing the tracks meters above the ground.
I had to help out elderly people come off. We were getting in groups of 3 or 4 to push other people on. I feel like we were left to figure it out basically on our own.
The group that runs the REM says there are slowdowns, but Friday's incident was an anomaly.
It was a special incident that occurred on Friday. It's not ideal, especially for people that have fear of height. We had no choice. The train didn't respond anymore.
According to researchers from McGill University, while incidents like Friday's do have an impact on ridership, the bigger problem is communication when something goes wrong.
Why it's interrupted and what's causing it and how long would it take, because passengers need to know and to understand that this is not something that's going to happen every week.
According to a McGill survey published in May, 3/4 of commuters on the North Shore are satisfied with the service. That drops to about 70% when it comes to the Brossard branch. The REM will celebrate 3 years next week. But Sylvester is considering a change.
I've been taking the REM for 3 years, and I have to tell you, I can't count how many times I was either late or stuck. I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to find a job on the South Shore.
She says she's sick of being stuck. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
A menstrual health program that's being used in Quebec schools is under scrutiny. Montreal Public Health is urging schools not to use the material from the organization that's behind it. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil has more.
For many students, school is where they first learn about their bodies. But health experts say that information needs to be science-based, especially when it comes to sexual and reproductive health. Our colleagues at Nouveau Info obtained a letter sent by Montreal's Public Health Authority to local schools. It recommends they stop using material from Serena Quebec in their classrooms. It warns some of their content could misinform or confuse young people. The letter says Serena Quebec promotes natural contraception without adequately explaining its limitations. It also raises concerns that hormonal contraception is presented in an unbalanced way. Obstetrician-gynecologist Dr. Diane Francoeur says public health is right to be concerned.
Because these young folks who look on social media will be told that the birth control pill is associated with infertility and give cancer, and this is not true.
Serena Quebec disputes the criticism. In a statement, it says its Semaine Rouge program does not teach natural contraception in schools. Instead, it says its in-school program, unlike the organization's website, focuses on menstrual health, body literacy, reducing taboos, and fighting poverty. The organization also says it's open to working with public health to clear up what it calls misunderstandings. Roxane Dubé-Rémillard is a Longueur high school teacher who has helped lead Semaine Rouge workshops for the past 2 years.
I don't want to talk about contraception because this is not La Semaine Rouge.
She believes the program is making a difference.
I just really believe in this initiative, truly, as a woman and as a teacher. Menstruation, for a long time, it's a private subject, and we need to talk about it as a public health subject.
She says menstruation is less taboo at her school today, and free menstrual products are now available to students. Public Health declined to do an interview about their warning. Meanwhile, Serena Quebec has given workshops in several schools, camps, and group homes across the province. The organization tells CTV News it hasn't yet spoken to students in English schools, but that it intends to do so in the future. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
There's a warning for people who buy used cars. There's a device now that plugs into a car and it prevents the mileage from adding up. A mechanic on the South Shore found one just by accident. Sweeta Rassi has more.
It all started with the repair at this garage in Saint-Isidore de la Prairie. Last week, a customer brought in their car for maintenance. Owner Maha Durij says nothing was out of the ordinary, so as a final check, he took the car for a test drive. But something didn't add up.
We drive it for 7 kilometers. So when we came back to the shop, we saw that the trip was still on 0.
Confused, he turned to ChatGPT for answers.
They told us maybe you have a mileage blocker on the car.
It's something he's never heard of before, a mileage blocker. But after doing some research online and taking a closer look into the car, he found it.
And we were shocked. And later that night, I made a video on Facebook.
It's a small attachment that plugs into the back of an odometer and stops the kilometers from adding up. And the video he posted online got traction. Durij says within the last week, he received calls and messages from several drivers who suspect they also have been deceived. Since then, he's learned how to spot them and has taken some out. George Iny is with the Automobile Protection Association. After hearing about this device, he took a trip to Durij's garage.
And it was something new. And we were astonished when they showed us the website to see the range of products that's available.
Online, it can sell from hundreds to thousands of dollars.
You know, this device is so new, I have no idea how you could protect yourself from it. I'd like to believe there's not too many of them out there.
Under Quebec's Consumer Protection Act, tampering with the odometer to reduce or change the mileage of a car is illegal. But selling or buying these types of devices are not.
It's a problem.
As for Durij, he expects he will see more of these devices, meaning used car buyers should be aware what you see on the odometer may not be telling the full story of the car. Sweeterassi, CTV News.
There were opening arguments today in the trial of a Montreal man who's accused of killing his daughter. Luciano Fratellin is charged with second-degree murder and concealing a body. The body of his 9-year-old daughter, Melina, was found near Ticonderoga, New York. The child's mother is among the witnesses expected to testify. Fratellin's lawyers will be arguing that police ignored evidence after he reported the girl had been kidnapped. Police in Ontario say they've struck hard at a major cross-border drug trafficking ring. Project Bay seized 1.7 tons of drugs, including meth and opium, along with military-grade guns. Here's Judy Trin.
A small mountain of illegal drugs weighing 1.7 tons, most of it cocaine and methamphetamine, seized during an investigation nicknamed Project Bay, which began in Windsor 18 months earlier.
The drugs in this room are not ending up in the hands of our community's vulnerable population. The firearms in this room are not sowing chaos in our communities.
Displayed in front of the hundreds of packages, the jarring visual of a weapon of war, an anti-tank gun, among the recovered firearms. Investigators say transnational crime groups are involved.
Investigators identified a network coordinating the movement and distribution of large quantities of drugs through otherwise legitimate supply chains. This included coordinating shipments and arranging drivers to knowingly transport concealed drugs within commercial loads.
Police say brokers were used to smuggle drugs in transport trucks and that illegal drugs worth $139 million have been taken off the streets, most of it intercepted at the border in May and June.
Border Services officers intercepted over 1.1 tons of drugs that criminal groups were attempting to smuggle across the border. We shared vital intelligence and surveillance information with our partners.
10 law enforcement agencies worked together on Project Bay, from Ontario Provincial Police to local police in Windsor and the Toronto area, along with the RCMP, U.S. Homeland Security, and the Drug Enforcement Agency. Investigators say the shipments originated in the southwestern United States and are likely connected to Mexican cartels.
Logically, Mexico is a well-known transshipment point with drug cartels.
Police have arrested 19 people in connection with Project Bay. 2 other suspects are on the run. Investigators emphasize that they have not dismantled a drug network, but have put a dent in the supply. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
There are questions about how Environment Canada triggers the weather alert system for tornadoes. Some say the emergency warnings on phones and TVs are too broad. Austin Lee explains.
Meteorologists are tracking a thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado.
It was a tornado warning sent to phones and TV screens across much of eastern Ontario Tuesday afternoon.
I was confused because it didn't seem windy.
It was not big panic. We just looked outside, so it was raining a bit. So pretty chill.
Advising people to take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches.
It was a surprise. We don't get those things usually, so we're not used to it. And then I thought, oh, is everything well in my place? And I live on a high-rise in an upper floor, and it's like, yeah, everything should be okay.
The warning spanning the entire city of Ottawa, as well as the United Counties of Prescott and Russell, but no tornado formed in Ottawa, and the real threat was near Vars.
There's too many people inside that warning region that simply don't need the warning at all. Like, even towards Arn Prior, it was sunny outside.
Storm chaser Connor Mockett suggests adopting a similar approach used in the United States, where warnings only go out to those in the narrow path where a tornado could touch down.
If you're issuing warning boxes that big, a large majority of that warning box has nothing to worry about. And that's when people start, disregarding the warnings.
No one from Environment Canada or Alert Ready, Canada's emergency alerting system, could explain why so many people were warned. But there is strong evidence a tornado likely touched down in Harrington, Quebec, about 120 kilometers northeast of downtown Ottawa.
We never issue tornado warnings lightly. It's always sent from our colleagues with strong evidence.
But the risk, according to critics, the cry wolf effect kicks in, and crucial warnings are more often ignored.
Your phone starts screaming at you, and you just look at it, you press OK, and you put it down, and you can go about your day. It shouldn't be that way.
Austin Lee, CTV News.
Tropical storm Bertha made landfall yesterday in Louisiana. It's now headed for Texas. Beaches are closed along the Gulf Coast from the Florida Panhandle to Mississippi. The storm is massive, with tropical storm force winds extending 250 kilometers from the storm center. Bertha is the second tropical storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. Coming up, it said her restaurant was closed.
Panic. Panic is what I was thinking. How could this information be so wrong?
What can happen when AI restaurant searches go very wrong? And Canada issues a travel advisory for people going to the United States. Just in the past hour, the White House announced new tariffs. Dozens of countries, including Canada, will be affected. The Trump administration is imposing the tariffs, citing forced labor in the supply chain. Meanwhile, earlier today, the Prime Minister promised to do whatever it takes to deal with Donald Trump. Mark Carney sat with provincial and territorial leaders in Charlottetown today, and he told them that at this point, everything is on the table. Rachel Aiello reports.
Under pressure to plot Canada's path through the latest escalation of the trade war with the United States, Prime Minister Mark Carney met with premiers today to strategize.
Canadian governments around this table will do whatever it takes to defend and support our families, our workers, and our businesses.
Morning. Provincial and territorial leaders went into the meeting wanting the Canadian government to articulate how they intend to get the Americans to the table.
With a strong plan, Team Canada, led by the Prime Minister.
And what happens if he doesn't have a strong plan today?
Well, I don't expect him to have the T's crossed and I's dotted, but it's a Team Canada approach led by the Prime Minister.
Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Chief Negotiator Janice Charette joined today's talks. And hours later, First Ministers emerged united and with new resolve.
We're ready. We're ready because we have been focusing on what we can control. And that's building our strength at home
As the clock ticks towards U.S. President Donald Trump's new tariffs coming into effect, Carney said he sees the current deadline as both a potential endgame, but also just another pressure tactic.
Everything's on the table if there's no agreement, depending on the outcome of the negotiations.
And premiers, while initially differing on retaliation, agreed the best outcome would be to get a comprehensive deal that provides relief for the full range of tariff-affected sectors.
97% of our goods cross the border without tariffs, but we'd like it to be 100%. And we'd like it to be the same way for the rest of the country as well.
The Prime Minister was also pressed to keep provinces in the loop as negotiations intensify.
Canada's at its best when provinces and territories and the federal government work together.
Carney and the premiers also agreed to keep up efforts to strengthen the domestic economy, to reduce Canada's reliance on the United States long term, from breaking down even more interprovincial trade barriers to building more major energy projects. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Meanwhile, the United States has signed a nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. But Donald Trump says the deal is subject to Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords. That means recognizing the state of Israel. In the past, the Saudis had said the establishment of a Palestinian state would be a condition for signing. The nuclear deal is for civilian use of nuclear power, but it is controversial, with many questioning whether Saudi Arabia might eventually use it for military purposes. Canada has upgraded its travel advisory for anyone traveling to the United States. It's because of the outbreak of cyclosporiasis. It's an illness that's caused by a parasite found in contaminated food or water. Thousands of suspected cases have been linked to contaminated lettuce. Travelers are being urged to thoroughly wash fresh fruits and vegetables, even if they're labeled pre-washed. And the wildfires in British Columbia are growing, especially in the Fraser Canyon. A new fire is moving quickly near Boston Bar.
You can see the sparks are falling everywhere. There's a tree on fire.
These images are from doorbell cameras near Boston Bar. Two wildfires have merged and is now out of control near the community. More than 450 homes are under evacuation orders. And coming up, it is a park for people often ignored.
We've put in a number of universal design features so that people of all ages and abilities can enjoy this.
And it's specifically designed for people with dementia. And one city is experimenting with public pools of a different design. LED lights are everywhere in our homes and offices, and they emit a lot of blue light. And this, according to some people, constitutes a public health crisis on par with asbestos. Really? On the other hand, red light apparently can cure anything. Jonathan Jarry is with the McGill Office for Science and Society. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
Okay, so first, a lesson on lights, the light basics. White light contains a color spectrum.
Yeah, so hopefully we all remember the light spectrum from high school science classes. Only a small portion of it is visible to us as colors. So at the low energy end of the spectrum, we have radio waves, microwaves, and infrared light. Then we get into visible light, which is red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. And we're picking up energy as we move into the blue and the purple. And then we end up with UV rays, X-rays, and gamma rays. And sunlight contains all of the colors of the rainbow, as well as infrared, which is what we perceive as heat, and UV light, which causes sunburns and can give us skin cancer.
Okay, so now some researchers and influencers have a problem with LED lights. Why is that?
Well, this is a very long story. I only have time to scratch the surface of it. So LED lights are everywhere now because they don't consume as much energy as, for example, those old incandescent light bulbs, the yellow ones. Unlike incandescent light bulbs, LED lights, they have a lot of blue in them. We see them as white, but there's a lot of blue light that is being emitted as part of that white light, and not a lot of red. Now, there's a researcher in London and his colleagues who are wondering very publicly and on podcasts if LED lights are so bad for our health because of that blue light that they are on par with asbestos, which is ridiculous. They worry that working in an office that is lit by LED lights, that it will affect our blood sugar levels, our sperm count, our body weight, etc. Now, of course, they can't do research by forcing people to be exposed to the blue light from LEDs because they suspect that they're bad for us. It would be unethical. So the evidence that they have comes from exposing people to the opposite, to red light, and trying to measure benefits.
Jonathan, I'm sitting in a studio surrounded by these lights. I might just keel over.
Your entire health at play.
Okay, now let's get to red light. It's said to be so much better, and where does that idea come from?
So there's a whole field of study called photobiomodulation, or PBM, which hinges on the idea that, or the hypothesis, that infrared light and red light are beneficial to us. And scientists have done quite a bit of research on this, although most of this is done in animals, and I remain quite skeptical of the alleged benefits.
Well, the supposed curative powers of red light, it's quite over the top, some of the stuff. Is there any evidence at all for this?
So the evidence beggars belief. When you listen to the lead researcher behind this sort of LEDs are bad for us idea, he talks about how good it is to have contrarians in science. He talks about the clinical trial where they tried to use red light to treat macular degeneration and it didn't work, but it somehow worked in the control group that didn't have macular degeneration. He also talks about how they saw benefits with very, very dim red light, so you really don't need much, and the effects last for days, maybe even months. And he insinuates that children with genetic diseases so severe that they die in early adulthood have improved significantly by giving them a bit of red light. Now, all the while, we are all exposed to red light all the time whenever we walk to our car in the parking lot, go for a walk, walk our dogs, because it's present in sunlight. So it just does not add up.
Okay, but Jonathan, this isn't to say that indoor light doesn't affect us, right? I mean, LED light in a room is not as cozy as a warm light, and we still should be getting outside to get some sunlight.
Ask any interior designer, bluish LED lights in the evening, it looks terrible, they're not relaxing, it looks very clinical. Having yellow lamps in the living room at night, it helps us wind down. And of course, as you mentioned, leaving our screens behind and going outside is a good idea, provided you wear sunscreen, unlike me today, if you're going to be out there for a while. But let's not add an unnecessary anxiety, given that we're already so anxious to begin with.
And we have enough other stuff to worry about.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you for having me.
Internet searches using artificial intelligence can become a major headache. Just ask one restaurant in Ontario. Jeff Pickle has that story.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
But like that, you know what I mean? Like how confusing that is?
It was a heart-stopping moment for Anna May's owner, Amanda Herford.
Panic is what I was thinking. How could this information be so wrong?
A friend sharing a Google search results describing the upcoming closure of her restaurant.
Anna May's Bakery and Restaurant in Millbank, Ontario, officially closed on July 31st, 2026. The beloved long-running establishment, famous for its roasted chicken and homemade pies.
The problem started a week before when another Anna May's in Illinois announced their closure. But she says the search results at that time were clear it was a different store.
If you actually looked up our name or our website or anything, it came up normal, it came up fine, everything looked as is, it said nothing about us closing.
That changed over the weekend when the Google AI results gave very specific information that Anna May's in Millbank was closing. Herford says people started calling, asking if they were shutting down.
So that's when I got very concerned, thinking this misinformation can ruin a business and perceptions of people and like spread false information very quickly.
According to experts, this type of mistake is common.
When you don't have a human in the loop and there's information that's being scraped and being processed, there is a very real possibility that errors can happen.
While Anna May's mix-up appears to be an innocent mistake, sometimes the intentions can be nefarious.
And AI has made it really easy for scammers to replicate websites. So what a lot of people are seeing now is deals that are just too good to be true. Stores shutting down, liquidation sale.
Herford says thankfully the problem was resolved quickly through the Google chatbot.
I just decided to put into the messages saying, hi, we are the owners, we are not closing. I think you have us confused with the Anna Mae's in Illinois that is closing. And then it wrote back and said, oh yes, I can see how this could be detrimental and we will get this fixed in our research right away.
Jeff Pickle, CTV News, Millbank.
It was a literally shocking moment in New Jersey. It was caught on camera. Watch the semi-truck hauling a forklift. It caught the overhead power lines yesterday. There it goes. The lines were pulled down, the hydro pole ripped out of the ground. Luckily, no one was hurt, and no vehicles were damaged.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Well, it's hard to ask for better weather than what we have coming our way in the next few days. We are looking at things warming up, but looking at the temperature right now, seeing 25 degrees for those of us in Montreal, a slightly cooler 24 in Mirabel and 22 in Sherbrooke. But again, that mercury is expected to move up. Feeling like 26, however. So that number 26 is still sitting right on our normal high for this time of the year. In the next few days, it could feel warmer than that, though, as the humidity kicks in. But for tonight, we're forecasting a low of 17 degrees. That's along with clear skies. We are seeing some light winds gusting at 15 kilometers an hour from the southwest. And heading into tomorrow, expecting to hold on to that temperature of 17. Also forecasting mainly sunny skies, and as we head into the afternoon, we should be holding on to that as the mercury moves up to a temperature of 27, and our future cast showing us again that similar story. So really seeing loads of sunshine for much of southern Quebec. We do see this band of clouds coming in at about 7 a.m. for those of us in the greater Montreal area, but again, that clears out as we head into Friday afternoon, and we're expecting similar patterns on Saturday and Sunday as well. So holding on to those varying degrees of sun and clouds, along with a daytime high of 29. But again, humidity is expected to be a factor. So we're looking at it feeling more like 33 on Saturday, more like 34 on Sunday. But take in the heat this weekend, because come the start of next week, we are looking at some thunder showers. So that would be on Monday and Tuesday. We're forecasting 6 millimeters on Monday, potentially up to 11 coming on Tuesday, holding on to those warmer feeling temperatures. But by this time, next week, we should be back to mainly sunny skies.
There's a new park that's set to open. It caters to a large but very underserved population. It is Canada's first ever dementia-inclusive park. Here's Tim Brooke.
Only a few more steps to go before the Martin Family Legacy Garden springs to life. Canada's first ever dementia-inclusive public park will soon accommodate those with the illness, as well as their caregivers and family members.
It is meant to be for multi-generations and for all to enjoy. We've put in a number of universal design features so that people of all ages and abilities can enjoy this.
Visitors here will see plenty of seating areas, extensive greenery, sensory elements, and even an accessible playground. And 3 color-coded loops allow those using the park to wander without getting lost.
It's very tangible and very legible and very immediately apparent for folks who maybe don't have the cognitive capacity to navigate themselves through other public spaces. So the continuous handrails that support folks, I think that's a huge benefit to the park and the folks that are going to be using the park.
It's all publicly accessible, connecting with the city's pathway system and close to a care home and Forest Lawn Senior Center.
So we worked with people like Alzheimer's Calgary, with these researchers who specialize in dementia at the University of Calgary and Montreal University.
There are currently about 20,000 Calgarians living with dementia. And so, while this is a first of its kind public park, don't expect it to be the last.
We have had interest from user groups and other organizations across the country.
The Martin Family Legacy Garden will officially open on September 21st, coinciding with World Alzheimer's Day. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
The city of Kitchener is trying something new with its public swimming pools. The new pools are not made with the traditional tile and concrete. They're made of stainless steel. Alexandra Hollick has more.
Sunlight dances across the surface of these new swimming pools, their shine bolstered by a metallic material.
First stainless steel pool in the city of Kitchener.
The Cowan Recreation Center will feature an 8-lane, 25-meter pool alongside a program pool for aquatic activities.
That will actually allow us to have 48,000 more swim class spots for residents of city of Kitchener and beyond.
It's a first for the city and the region of Waterloo. The durable design is a dive into uncharted waters.
It initially may feel a little differently when you first step into the pool. Overall, it provides for a better user experience and, as I said, less downtime. It's actually the more sustainable choice.
Now that the pools are filled, the city says maintenance will be minimal, which in turn will use less water and boost environmental benefits.
There's less chemicals that are required, it holds the temperature better, and there's less potential for operational impacts.
Mayor Barry Verbanovic says any repairs can be done without draining the pool.
If there was ever anything that needed to be adjusted on the stainless steel, it's welding that can happen underwater.
As for the project's price tag and timeline, the city says it's floating along.
It's in fact on time and on budget and something we're very excited about.
As excitement builds, so does the rest of the rec center. While an official opening date has yet to be announced, the plan is to welcome the public before the end of this year. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Kitchener.
And coming up, it could help in the treatment of addictions.
Leading theory is that GLP-1s can affect the part of the brain that control feeling full and feeling rewarded.
It is an unexpected benefit to Ozempic. And how a small stuffed donkey came to be lost and found again.
Your Health, brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Drugs such as Ozempic have been associated with many benefits, such as heart and liver health. Now, a new study suggests another benefit. Pauline Chan has more.
GLP-1 agonist drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy were first used in controlling diabetes, then for weight control.
We've seen how they can help with cravings related to food, and so the leading theory is that GLP-1s can affect the part of the brain that control feeling full and feeling rewarded, and so kind of lends itself to thinking maybe that could work for alcohol and drugs.
They looked in different relevant populations. So one was a group of people with diabetes that is the primary group who these drugs are prescribed for. A second group was people with obesity who didn't necessarily have diabetes. And then the third study was interesting, was a study of people with alcohol use disorders.
U.S. researcher Emma Haller says the reduction in alcohol-related hospitalizations was significant for all three groups.
So in the diabetes and obesity medication comparisons, the risk was about 22 to 32% lower.
Toronto liver specialist Dr. Jordan Feld says the numbers were even more striking for those with alcohol use disorder.
In the alcohol group, they're actually comparing the GLP-1 agonists to treatment for alcohol use disorder. So other drugs that are used to try to reduce alcohol use in people with alcohol use disorders. And they actually found a much more significant effect, about a 2/3 reduction. So 65% reduction in admission for alcohol-related complications.
Haller says more study is needed, but this is not the first study to look at GLP-1 agonists in connection with addictions. Could these drugs someday be used in addiction treatment?
I definitely think that's a possibility. It's obviously premature. We wouldn't recommend at this point using GLP-1 specifically for that indication, but I think this study, along with some of the other published literature, really gives us a sense that maybe there's something here.
Pauline Chan, CTV News.
It's not clear how it happened, but a python recently got trapped under the hood of a vehicle in Mississauga. An animal rescue team were called in to remove it. They say the python was dehydrated and it had a few minor scratches, but otherwise it was healthy. It's now recovering at the Mississauga Animal Shelter.
Business News, brought to you by Au Vieux de Loup. Generous and delicious plates all the time.
Oil prices spiked today as the fighting in the Middle East expanded. Morella Fernandez has more.
Houthi militants say they attacked 2 Saudi tankers in the Red Sea. The Red Sea shipping route was Saudi Arabia's detour, with the Strait of Hormuz paralyzed. The Houthis are backed by Iran and operate out of Yemen. The changing conflict sent the price of West Texas Intermediate crude above $93 U.S. today, and Brent crude over $102 U.S. a barrel. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to $72.92 U.S. West Texas Intermediate is up over $5 to end the day to $92.19 U.S. a barrel. Western Canadian Select also up to $69.08, and the TSX lost 292 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
A small stuffed donkey has been returned to its owner. It was left on board a BC ferry last week, and the crew was determined to return it to its owner. Shannon Patterson reports.
For 5 days, Churro the Burro has been a maritime adventurer aboard the Salish Raven, the BC ferry that runs between Swartz Bay and the southern Gulf Islands.
He was left on board on Thursday, the 16th. One of my crew members brought him to the office, and of course we make announcements. We didn't find anyone.
So the crew posted about the bright pink stuffed donkey on BC Ferry's social media channels.
It just blew up from there. It was amazing.
The posts have been viewed more than 1.8 million times. The name Churro the Burro came from the comment section, where users couldn't get enough of the little guy's onboard exploits.
He went all over the ship. We didn't leave him out of anything. We took him into the crew mess. We took him up to our ECR, our engine control room. We took him to the bridge, of course. He sat in the captain's chair, of course.
While the crew had fun showing Churro around, their real goal was finding his owner.
We have so many things that are left daily on board, but we do try to reunite people with as much as we can and as quickly as we can, and especially these cherished little stuffies for the little kids. Once we could find the owner, we wanted to be able to show them how much fun Churro had on board and that he wasn't sad while he was away from his owner.
Thanks to the power of social media, on Monday, they found him.
The little boy who owns Churro actually is called Alfie. He's 5 years old. And his nana came back from Mexico with Churro for Alfie and, of course, another unicorn for his sister Ronan.
While his maritime adventure is almost over,
Churro's still on board. He's being well cared for. He's well fed. He has an employee ID. He's very excited to be reunited.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
That's fun. Quebec music sensation Angine de Poitrine has caught the attention of the NFL. The NFL is using their music in a TikTok video promoting the season kickoff. It's 7 weeks away. Angine de Poitrine is from Saguenay and seemingly everywhere these days. Their free concert at the Jazz Festival last month broke attendance records, and they were named the Global Breakthrough Award winners at the Billboard Canada Power Players 2026. Pressure tactics by unions at the STM have created a bit of a mess, and Caroline, at issue now is who pays for the cleanup.
That's right. That mess is thousands of union stickers and posters that were posted to their buses, metros, and other areas during a labor dispute last year. 2,300 of them to be exact, and the STM says their employees have already spent over 2,000 hours removing them at a cost of about $100,000 before it's all said and done. They want the union to help pay. We'll also have new crime numbers from Montreal, an update on a human smuggling story that resulted in the death of a family, and a call for help to clean up the shorelines of the St. Lawrence, in case you're interested. That's all on our late show at 11:30. It's Sammy.
Thanks very much, Caroline.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here tonight on CTV.
For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
Anastasia, is looking like a nice evening.
That's right. Nice evening and also warmer than last night. We're looking at a low of 17 degrees for the evening. Also forecasting clear skies as we head into tomorrow. can expect to see a lot of sunshine, so mainly sunny skies throughout the day. And by 5 p.m., we should be up to a daytime high of 27 degrees. And we're looking at similar conditions headed into the weekend. So we're seeing a daytime high of 29 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. But you're going to want to watch out for humidity. It could feel as warm as 34 on Sunday. So you'll want to keep that in mind. Mitsumi?
And we leave you now with the music of Oliver Jones. He died yesterday at the age of 91. Have a good evening. Take care. Good night.
I've always had my kicks playing jazz.
I noticed we even have a little Oscar Peterson on here. I guess Oscar Peterson and Oliver Jones, it's almost hard to separate those two names in a sentence about jazz musicians in this country, isn't it?
Well, you're thinking of one rich one and one poor. See?
Ali. There's no place like coming home, and especially Montreal. I've been playing the piano for 76 years. I think it's time to take it easy. Nothing ever came close to what we went through here, being inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was just tremendous.
So once again, congratulations, and we wanted to take the time to thank you again for all you've done for this city.
I thank you very, very much.